Hello and welcome to the Craft Witch Corner, where I yap and craft. My name is Dex and my pronouns are he, they. This is my first ever video. Things are definitely going to be pretty chaotic, pretty messy. I'm not a professional. This is just for fun. I'm no teacher, I'm no guru, and I am not intending to have a beginner 101 kind of channel. So I just want to preface that from the very beginning. If that's what you're looking for. I wouldn't necessarily recommend continuing to watch this because that's not at all what my channel will be about. Like I said, my name is Dex, I'm trans, I'm queer, I'm neurodivergent, I'm mentally ill. All of these different kinds of things really affect the way that I live my life and the way that my practice looks. I would say one of the biggest parts of my personal, mundane life and also my witchcraft is crafting and all kinds of art. I love to knit and draw and paint, and I make music, poetry, all kinds of things. And it is one of the most important parts of my life. So especially knitting, I am fucking obsessed. It's a little hot right now to wear knitted clothing for me. Soon, hopefully, once the weather starts to change, particularly in fall and winter, I will definitely be repping my shit, okay? So you will definitely see some of that. And I want to do a lot of that kind of content as well, and how I incorporate knitting and those kinds of crafts into my witchcraft. So that's gonna be a big thing. I don't really work with a label in terms of my witchcraft. I do kind of whatever the fuck I want. I'm definitely into chaos magic, if you couldn't tell by the few things I've said already, but I wouldn't really necessarily call myself a coyote or a chaos magician just because it doesn't really jive with me. It's just not quite right. I'm also really into Scandinavian and Norse folk magic stuff, so that's definitely something I'm getting into. And I'm definitely in my experimentation era. I have been just trying shit and just seeing what happens. I've really been enjoying that, you know? I've kind of completely thrown out the whole idea of a correspondence list. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I think, what does this thing mean to me? And if I can't think of anything, then A, I most likely just don't use it, because if it doesn't mean anything to me, then why am I using it? Or B, I sit with it, meditate with it, work with the spirit of it. Let's say a plant, you know, blackberry. If I don't really know what blackberry means to me, then I just spend time meditating with it, meditating on it, all of that, and get to know the plant spirit and go from there. So not everyone does that, and that's totally fine. I'm a firm believer in doing what works for you. So if it works for you to work from a list of correspondences, absolutely fucking do that. But I think for a lot of people that I've seen too, working towards advancing in their, respective paths, one of the most important things is saying fuck the correspondence list and just coming up with your own and working from your beliefs about things. So if you're struggling with things, I don't know, maybe try that. It might help you. It has certainly helped me a lot. My goal with this channel is, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a teacher. This is not going to be beginner 101 content. I am still a beginner myself. That's how I feel. I still think, I have been practicing for 6 or 7 years now, purposefully, intentionally, actively. I do not consider myself anywhere near advanced. That's kind of the whole goal that I'm working on right now in my path and my practice personally, is advancement. And for me, in future videos I'll really get into what that means for me, but the basics of it is I'm really working with meditation right now and spirits. So getting to know, like I said, plant spirits, things like that. I think it's a lot more of a well-rounded spell when you're not using items as ingredients, but rather working with the spirit of the thing to help bolster the effects of it, because then it takes a simple spell that uses one herb to just an insane level of potency. Again, not everyone is going to do that. Not everyone can meditate or is able to for neurodivergent reasons. All of that, as a neurodivergent person myself, 100% I feel that. I just want to say this now because I am going to do my best to always have subtitles on my videos. A, because I talk really fast and sometimes I can be really confusing. B, of course, accessibility for deaf and hard of hearing people as well as neurodivergents. One of my clear aims is definitely accessibility. So if there's anything I'm missing out on, let me know in the comments. And just because I don't want to forget and I want to make sure that it is out there, if I say or do anything that is out of line or culturally appropriative, or I'm spreading any kind of misinformation, that is never my intention and something that I'm actively very against. So, say something in the comments and I will address that. Like, I will look into that. I will figure out what I'm doing wrong. Like, just call me out. Just call me out. I'm happy to be called out. I'm very actively anti-racist, anti-cultural appropriation, anti-bigotry, and it is never my intention to do something harmful. So call me out, let me know, and I will address that and like fucking fix my behavior. My goal is definitely not beginner 101 content, and it never will be. I understand why a lot of people want that. I have a very long list of people who have great beginner 101 content and books that I have read, and that is going to be a whole thing. I'm going to make a whole video on all of that in the future. I am especially and specifically wanting to be kind of here as like an encouragement for people like me who are neurodivergent and mentally ill and disabled and like queer and trans and have all these other things going on, people living in fat bodies, like to see that you can do it too, and that sometimes it just takes a little bit of creativity in finding ways to work with yourself and still be able to do what you want, right? Like, a lot of people talk about meditation like it's the only way, but then never even try to find ways to make it accessible for people with ADHD or, and I can't remember the word for it, I'll include it, it's the one where you can't visualize. Just because you can't do one thing, that doesn't mean, or that you have a hard time doing it, doesn't mean that you can't practice witchcraft. That's fucking dumb. Like, you will never catch me saying shit like that. That's so stupid. I would love to make long form content in general, but especially about crafting. Craft with me, vlogs, and then just ways that I personally practice my craft that maybe differ. A lot of chaos magic stuff. I want to document experiments, the ones that I feel comfortable with, just to see, just because I feel like sometimes in witchcraft it can feel really scary and unaccepted to experiment and try your own shit, but that's like the essence of chaos magic, so that's what I want to do. And then also working towards sustainability and being eco-friendly in my life and also in my witchcraft, and a lot of anti-capitalism, anti-consumerism shit, because fuck that shit in witchcraft. It is so upsetting to me. And a lot of political stuff. Almost everything about my identity is political, so I don't think it should come as any kind of surprise to anyone that I would be talking about political stuff. If you are not somebody who wants to include politics in witchcraft, this is not the page for you. This is not the channel for you. I am not the person for you, and you are not the person for me. So let's get that one fucking straight. If you don't like it, don't watch it. It's cool. Plenty of other creators don't talk about it. You know, you can watch their watered down content. That was probably rude as fuck, but I honestly stand on business on that one. Just the act of being a witch is political, and I will not back down on that one. So that's gonna be a part of it. And then mental health and wellness, and just like how that impacts my witchcraft. Because I do feel like a lot of the time in witchcraft, it's so focused on here that a lot of people just neglect their bodies, and that was me for the majority of my practice, was just completely neglecting my physical body. And also being autistic, I have a lot of disconnect between my brain and my physical body, so it's hard for me to feel things like when I'm hungry, or when I need to go to the bathroom, or when I'm feeling pain, or different things like that. There's a lot of disconnect. So one of my main goals is just like getting back into my body and figuring out how I can have that connection with my body, being autistic and having certain challenges there. My channel and my page is definitely going to be very chaotic and very messy, not curated, not aesthetic. I'm none of those. Like, I'm not an aesthetic person. I don't even fucking, I don't want to be, I don't try to be. I'm just a human being. I'm flawed. And I've got a messy home. My videos are going to be a bit fucked, a bit chaotic, a bit messy. And if that's you and that's your life, then welcome. And I hope that you feel seen and that you feel normal. I don't want to make anyone feel like they have to be perfect to practice, because that's not reality, you know? I practice in clothes that I've been wearing for 4 days. I practice with tears streaming down my face and like snot everywhere. Like, if you can't practice at your worst, then I really hope that by seeing my imperfect life and my imperfect practice, you're able to see and understand that those times and those spaces and those feelings are exactly when practicing helps the most 9 times out of 10, obviously with safeties in place. In a moment I will get to some of that stuff. Like, it's important to make sure that you are not slipping into spiritual psychosis and not practicing when it will be harmful for you. Knowing high risk versus low risk activities and things are definitely important things to make sure that we're not slipping into psychosis or, you know, harming ourselves rather than helping. And for everyone, those things are going to look different, so it's important to just get back to yourself and make those choices for yourself. The last thing that I just wanted to quickly talk about before closing out this first video is giving flowers. I think it's really important to shout out the people that inspire you and that inform you in your content as somebody who wants to create content. First and foremost, shout out to my mentor, Kellyanne Maddox. She is a content creator on YouTube. She's on Instagram. She has a Patreon. She's written books. Like, she is fucking incredible. I highly recommend. If you don't know who Kellyanne is, go to her YouTube. She is incredible. She has like so many videos about fucking almost anything you could think of. She is definitely like a grounding place in the witchcraft community. And I just wanted to note here as well that I was actually inspired by Kellyanne to make this YouTube channel. I just wanted to really give her fucking flowers. I'm going to link the different people's different things. And then the next one is the Norse Witch on YouTube, Benta. They are very specifically like Norse paganism, Norse folk magic specified in their content, and it's incredible. They have really great resources and content, and I love them. Oh, I forgot to say, Kellyanne Maddox. I highly recommend her books, Rebel Witch and Witch in Darkness. Both great books. Witch in Darkness specifically, that talks about like high risk, low risk, witchy activities and behaviors and things like that. I highly recommend, especially if you're mentally ill or neurodivergent, checking out the book. I do feel like it helps prepare you for like safely practicing in times of distress and in times of darkness. So that was what I was getting at before. Some other people, Ivy Corvus, love chaos magic, incredible. She is an amazing creator and I love her, and I highly recommend. The Ritual Kitchen with Laura May, highly recommend. She definitely works more from the psychological model. Highly recommend if you're into that and a lot of like kitchen witchery stuff. And then Activist Witch, highly recommend their content, especially if you're really into political witchcraft. The Green Witch, green witchcraft, herbalism. She's so calming and so peaceful, and I love. She also has a book. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I will link it. I highly recommend it. It was, especially if you're into herbalism and green witchcraft. Molly Roberts, Art Witch, wonderful, incredible, beautiful soul. Absolutely love her content. It's so beautiful and so inspiring and just so calming as well. So I highly recommend her. Grumpy Old Crone. She's just a wonderful person, and I highly recommend if you want to just watch someone talk shit, basically. And then the Witch of Wonderlust. Amazing. Lots of beginner content. Also lots of vlogs. I highly recommend. She's super cool. One of my friends, Bug, I needed to include their experimentation worksheet. It'll be in the link. It's incredible, amazing. It has genuinely revolutionized the way that I record keep and experiment and like live through my witchcraft. So it has been like an insane improvement to my witchcraft. I highly recommend checking it out. If there is interest in it, I might curate like an actual beginner 101 kind of playlist with my favorite beginner videos from my different, you know, favorite content creators on YouTube specifically, and also include like my favorite beginner books and things of that nature. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Let me know if there's anything else you want to say in the comments below, and if there's any topics you would want me to cover. I would absolutely love to read those comments. Stay crafty and stay kind.